Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Eli.
And I'm Jason.
And this is Yahoo in the Torah YouTube channel. And this is the segment where we go over the restored names version of the commands.
The laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator. Yeah, so we're just going to kind of go over this. For those who did not know, we went over these last week. And there is a book on our website that you can download absolutely free of charge. And you can see exactly what we are reading over, and we are reading over these. And we went through the first 30 pages on the day before Shabbat, and now here we are. We are now in month 10 on our Creator's calendar. It is the first day of the week. It's the 22nd day on his calendar. It is the 15th day on the Gregorian, Babylonian, Satanic calendar. And we will continue on. Gentlemen, do you have anything exciting going on? Do you have anything fun to talk about?
Let's see.
So the good news is, here's the bad news is, actually it's not bad. The interesting information is, normally, at least for a little bit, we've been washing clothes by hand. Jaden, how did you enjoy washing clothes by hand?
It's not too bad, but it doesn't get a lot of clothes done.
And it doesn't get a lot of clothes done. It doesn't get them done real well. So we haven't had a washer for a while, and the washer's just a pile of junk. And Nicole's mama bought us a washer. It's our first new washer we've had in a very, very, very long time. And it'll be a nice change for this house. There's just a slight caveat, is that we have to walk the washer through a quarter of a mile of jungle to make it to the house. So that is what we are thinking is going to be happening today. And hopefully we will, the three big boys here will be able to do this. And it's always something crazy in this house. So let us begin into this. And that is it. So we are starting, for everybody, this is part 2 of a part 3 series that we will have, and we'll finish this up tomorrow. And so, gentlemen, are you guys ready to roll? And I guess let me spin everyone's head. I'm going to take you guys to the very top of this real quick. And let's go over exactly what we went over last week. Wow, it just really takes a long time. This thing's just, wow. Okay, so I made it to 1.
You were already on page 1.
No, I was on page 25.
It just keeps having you scroll up.
There it is, right here. So this is what I'm looking for right here. This is what we went over last week. So last week, if you guys are curious about this, we went over the 10 commandments regarding Yahuwah, the festivals and the Modim, the Sabbath laws, the dietary laws, the laws for Yisrael, false mighty ones and idols, sexual defilement, men and women. And now we are on marriage. So I'm going to spin your head the other way. And we are going to get right to page 25-ish. 20, 21. Sorry, guys. There's no better way to do this. This is 25. And so here we are. Now,
it's actually page 28.
Is it page 28?
There's 25 in the thing, so it's page 28.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Sorry, guys. So 28. There it is, right there. Wow. We made it. All right. So here we are.
Go.
It is one more up. Oops. There we go. Okay, so this is marriage. So guys, let's do this the same way that we do the other commands. Let's kind of go through these real quick. Okay, marriage, the thing about the laws, statutes, and commands, and I guess before we begin, Jaden, who are we? What do we believe as a family? What do we believe as scripture readers?
We believe that the laws, statutes, and commandments are forever, that they're still here, that they were never abolished, they were not put on the cross. Peter or Paul did not get rid of them, that they are still here, and that we also have a Messiah who it came down so that we could have a repentance of sins.
Yeah, and who is our Messiah, Eli?
He is the Son of the Creator, Yahushua HaMashiach. He is not known as Jesus because there were no J's in Hebrew.
Okay, and so are these laws, statutes, and commands too hard to bear, Caden?
No.
Why?
Because most of them are easy. Most of them are simple stuff like don't lie, don't steal unless you have a major klepto habit, you should be fine.
Unless you have a klepto habit, you should be fine. Yeah, absolutely. Or you have bad issues like you get into the worldly stuff and you start viewing yourself in the world, how the world views stuff. And the world is all about nudity. The world is all about showing as much skin as you could possibly show getting away with it, and there's really nothing left to the imagination when you look at the way that people dress these days. And so when we talk about marriage, and we talk about a lot of this, there's the marriage is a very, very important thing. And I guess we'll just begin. These are the laws of marriage from our Creator. Okay, first one, accusations against a wife. And I'll quickly say, this is, I guess I will say it is kind of unfortunate, but it is kind of a one-way street back in the day. And this is the way our Creator had set this up. There is no such law for a woman to divorce her man per se, but there is, but unless he's, even unfaithful, because you can have multiple wives in the thing. And so unfortunately, this is almost a one-way street for women. But a marriage should be a man and a woman. The way that marriage was set up way back in the day, you could have multiple wives, and that was simply done so that we wouldn't get wiped out. If you only had one wife and one kid, or two kids, or something of the sort, and you had a band of marauders come by and wipe your entire people out, there was no way to build up a generation very quickly. And so that is why our Creator set us up with the ability to, in those situations, to have more than one wife. But I don't believe that I don't think it's a good thing for people to do anymore. It was good for a time in this world, but right now we need to be solid, and we need to be loyal to a single man, to a single woman, and we need to perfect that marriage. And there's really no reason to have multiple wives in this kind of day and age that we are in. You're probably not going to have a band of marauders come by and wipe your entire village and your house out and things of that nature. So it's best to stick with one man and one wife as far as that goes. Okay, so if a man makes an accusation against a wife, he has the ability to put the woman away in her divorce. In today's land, the laws of the land in the court system, a woman can definitely file for divorce as well. But a way that our Creator has it, it comes from the man. Okay, so continue on, guys. A wife who is not a maiden.
A man seizing a maiden.
Well, hold on. What is it? Tell me a little bit. A wife who is, it's just these commands are really, it's lacking, right? So you have a title, a wife who is not a maiden. What in the world does that mean? Somebody explain this, because we know exactly what this stuff is.
If she was not a maiden, she was not found a maiden, and the parents could not prove it, the parents and her would be stoned. But if not, the dude would pay the father.
Did the parents get stoned too?
Yeah.
Did they? For the
community.
woman?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
I think so.
Anyone else? Can anyone else vouch for this? I don't remember the parents getting stoned for the. I remember they take it out.
Or maybe it's just her. Maybe it's just her.
Yeah, I think it's just.
I think the father has to stone her.
I don't know if the father even stones her, but they do kill her for sure. But the parents have the ability to take the sheets out in front of everybody, the bed sheets of the marriage, and to prove that the woman was a maiden.
That would be just such
And then
a
something
strange
happened
ordeal.
if the guy was wrong, something happened. Like
No, he would pay them like a certain amount of shekels, and like he would never be able to divorce her.
Yeah, and if the guy is wrong, I hope he has a very bad marriage for the entire life, because he's not going to have a great. I'm not going to say I hope, but he's not going. If you sit there and accuse your wife in front of the entire community, in front of her parents, in front of everything, and then you think you're going to go home that night and you're going to have cuddle hugs, it's not happening, right? She's not going to be happy with you at all, especially if you're a liar. If you're a filthy liar and you put her out on Front Street, that's messed up. Okay, a man seizing a maiden. Guys, explain this real quick so we can get through
if
these.
a man forces himself upon a maiden, he ends up paying the father 50 shekels, and can never ever divorce her.
But if she's already engaged.
But she's already. There's a difference. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get there.
and if she's engaged, you would kill the man, and if she was engaged, you'd kill her as well. Now the thing is, people think this is a weird law. I thought this was a weird law right out of the gate, because basically it's the law of rape. If you raped a woman that was a maiden, you would make her your wife, and you could never ever divorce her. And although that sounds incredibly whacked, the way that Hebrew life is that basically the woman would be forced back to her parents' house. And when her parents died, she could very well end up being homeless, or basically nobody would ever want her because she was not a maiden. And so it's one of those things. Okay, certificate of divorce. When a man takes a wife, shall marry her. Yeah, if he wants to, and his heart is hard, then he could divorce her. Then it goes on to a divorced wife. And if she left his house and went with another man's wife, and the latter husband shall hate her and write her and put her in her hand and send her. Okay, so basically it's how a woman that is divorced cannot go back to her man. If your man has cheated on you, you commit adultery by going back to that man. Same for the woman. If a woman has cheated on the man and you go back into that, you have now committed adultery. And we are not to go back to our spouses if in that kind of a case. We need to separate ourselves from them. Okay, a wife suspected of adultery. Guys, you want to bring that to... let's just run through this real quick.
So if the man thinks she has cheated or she's committed adultery, then he can take her before the priest, and the priest will give this special drink. And if she swells, then she cheated, and if she doesn't, then...
The bitter herb of truth drink, yeah. And so that's what it is. Okay, this is all talking about that. Captives for wives. I don't remember what this is. When you go out and fight against your enemies, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall give them into your hand, you shall take them captive and shall see among the captives. Okay, so basically it's just saying that you can, back in the day, if you go and maraud a city yourself, and you end up with a woman from there, as long as she's not defiled, and it is, Yah, our Creator, has not said to kill everyone in the village, then it is possible you can take her for a wife. Although that being said, when you go and kill another woman's husband, or not husband but parents, and you think that they're going to forgive you for that and it's all going to be okay, that's another thing. You're probably not going to get the cuddle hugs at night for a long, long time when you killed her parents, if ever, right? Okay, exemption from service. Let's continue on.
When you're married, you're a priest, right, or something. You don't have to go out and do the service of the priestly duties, or you don't have to go out to the army or any of that thing.
You got 1 year. Okay, duty to a brother's wife.
So basically, if a brother dies and he's married and he had no children, the brother would take the brother's wife and marry her and have children, raise it up in his place.
Yep, and that is good. Okay, health and cleanliness. Next one, quarantine. Okay, you guys ready for the quarantine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so lepers, everybody has a any kind of uncleanness, including a discharge at night by men or by women. You got to go outside the camp, right? You are technically unclean from ceremonial stuff, and I guess you're unclean from other things other than just ceremonial. But these are the things that were back in the day that if you had something like this, you have to leave. You go outside the camp immediately. Okay, skin infections. There's a whole bunch of stuff. These are all we have these under our thing as hygiene laws. And so there's all sorts of stuff. And this is if you didn't have a doctor and you had a priest and you had ended up with some kind of skin disease, he would be able to tell you what was up, what was not, things of that nature. Okay, infection of the head and beard. If you end up with some kind of a infection under your beard, you need to you shave it off. You're shaving all your stuff is what that talks about. Okay, continue on, guys. A garment or object with an infection.
Is there anything like mold or something with like a huge infection or something that is not good on one of those things? The priest would check it out and he would either say burn it or scrape it off, or he would try and figure out what it is to deal with the infection so that it not spread and get around sick.
Yeah, and if you have clothes that are infected and it's like on your clothes and like leprosy, then you would get rid of it. Clothes. Okay, cleansing of a leper.
So he was supposed to, if he had thinking he had leprosy, the priest would look at it, he would send him outside the camp for 7 days. If he came back and he was better, then he would let him go and he'd be good, but if he got worse, then he'd have to stay outside the camp until then. But then if he ever got healed, then he would shave all his stuff off, do an offering, and he would be healed.
Yep. And that is why Messiah Yahushua told the lepers to go and do what?
Go to the priest.
Yeah, go to the priest, because Messiah Yahushua kept the law, statutes, and commands. Okay, house with an infection. If you can't clean this house, you got to knock the house down.
Burn it up and get rid of it.
Yeah, burn it or get rid of it. A discharge. When any man has a discharge of his flesh, discharge is unclean. He is unclean, right? He's unclean until even. This is a discharge, emission of semen. It's the same thing, which I think the emission of semen is the discharge. I'm not sure why they have this twice.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about like a zit or something.
Does a zit make you unclean? Did we figure that out?
I know blood does.
Blood does, but if you had a zit... All right, let's continue. Discharge of blood. Okay, so this is about a woman that is cycling. She is unclean. She's unclean for, 14 days? 7 days? For sure. And then I think it's 7 days after that she is unclean. And so this is important stuff. And men are not to, literally, you're not supposed to be with a woman for any reason when she's cycling. And the whole point of a cycling woman is that she's supposed to have rest. She's supposed to be taken care of. She's not supposed to be cleaning the house and doing all the chores and doing all the same kind of stuff, because it completely annihilates the woman and defeats them. And for the most part, not all women, but a lot of women, it really, really hurts badly. And so this is, if you're just going to a 9-to-5 job and you're just having terrible cycles, then it's just terrible. All right, contact with a corpse. Yeah. Hello, can anyone hear me?
We talk about the one above it.
I guess we're not contacting the corpse like this, right?
A carcass, contact with a horse and death in a dwelling.
Not a horse, a corpse.
Okay, that's what I said, contact with a corpse.
Pretty sure you said horse.
Anyways, anything you deal with death, it's unclean. You touch it, it's unclean. You show the stick, it's unclean. If it falls on you, you're unclean. You just need to wash up. And some are more different than the others. Like if you killed it, you have like to wash up extra. You have to go to the priest, and there's extra things like that.
Yeah. And so death in a dwelling, this is the Torah of a man that dies in a tent. All who come in a tent and who are in a tent are unclean for 7 days, right? And that's why they do not let Levitical priests or the high priest into their parents' place when their parents die.
Right, it has to be like other people. It can't be the high priest. The high priest cannot be unclean.
Right. Okay, outdoors, anyone in the open field who touches slain by a sword or who has died or born of a man or grave is unclean for 7 days. So this is talking about a dead body, a corpse. Right. And so there's another thing too that we can't do because we do not have Levitical priesthood is the red heifer. You're supposed to cleanse yourself using a red heifer. Okay, cleansing. This is what it's talking about. There it is.
Clean ourselves, the ashes, the heifer, and sprinkle water upon ourselves and bathe, and it's like 7 days later you're clean.
All right. When you have to have a doodle, when you doodle, you must doodle outside your camp, right? So that's the thing. You don't take a doodle inside your camp. Excrement, right? So, and you're supposed to have a little trowel, right? You shall dig it and turn over your doo-doo, right? That's a big thing.
Like a shovel. You want to keep a little distance.
I don't know when modern day plumbing went, where Thomas Crapper, I believe that's the guy's name. I believe that is his name. I think that little piece in the toilet
Seat.
Right. Huh?
He invented the toilet seat, I think.
Thomas Crapper did?
I think it was the toilet seat.
I thought it was a little rubber thing in the back of it. I thought it was.
Know.
All right. Anyway, we don't know. But anyway,
he has something to do with the toilet.
Modern day technology, I guess it kind of just goes right into the sewer. We don't have to deal with that. Prior to probably 1700s, I don't think they had PVC and plumbing. I don't know when they had plumbing. Probably the 1800s, maybe 1900s. Probably Shingles didn't have any in Little House on the Prairie.
Ingalls?
Yeah, Ingalls. We nicknamed it Shingles. So he didn't have that. So I don't know when they actually had plumbing and that stuff. But prior to that, you take a little shovel, and it is a commandment. You take your shovel, and when you have a doodle, you clean it up. Okay, do not defile the land. Okay, now we're in the land. This is a little bit different. So this is one that we are going to add to all of our stuff. So in the land is in the land. And I would say also, even though it's in the land, I don't think we should defile the land we are in.
This is don't defile the land which you inhabit.
Yeah, and so that's not in the land. It's that's where everything, right? We are not to defile our stuff. Display the Torah on stones.
And it shall be you in the day you pass over the Ardain to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, that you shall put up for yourselves large stones and plaster them with a plaster and write them all the words of this Torah which you have passed over. Yeah, that's for Israel. Go to Israel.
You could definitely do that.
We do it.
You could. I mean, I think it would be a good idea. You'd need huge rocks. Yeah, no, we've talked about this before and other stuff. Okay, regarding foreign nations, you don't get near them, right? You don't dwell with them. You don't bring their women into you. You don't do any of this kind of stuff, right? You get rid of them because we don't want to be as the nations. Okay, those who worship idols. Jade, take us away.
So the people should be stoned. They will be taken out if they try to take the people away. They'll be stoned. The people they are all stoned for doing this. And
you make no covenant with them, right?
Other people that worship idols outside of Israel, they make no covenant with them, and they might end up being destroyed.
Yeah, and I mean, if your best friend has idols and things of this nature, or that is the part, that's where you have to separate yourself from those, and you should not be around those people. Okay, do not be afraid. I don't even know why they have it just like that.
So it's under the foreign nations one.
Oh, okay.
If you look, it's to the right. It goes down to the right a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So do not be afraid. And this also, we have other commandments. Do not be afraid of your enemies. When we have our Creator, he's our captain. He's our commander, and he will take care of us. All right, Amalek.
Amalek.
Amalek. So now they hate him.
Yeah, basically we're not supposed to make
I think
covenant
he's
with
all
him.
wiped off, right? I think they wiped him off. Are we gonna be wiping him back off the map?
Yeah, so he's you're supposed to blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the Shemaim, right? So anyone who in the land, anyone's like, hey, I'm from the tribe of Amalek.
Just wipe him out.
Yeah, get out of there. Okay, inheritance of the land. When a man dies and has no son, okay, yeah, so this is talking about inheritance. I don't know why this wouldn't work for in the land you are in right now. Explain to me a little bit about the inheritance, gentlemen.
So basically, when a man dies and he has no son, and he doesn't have a brother or something like that, you give it to his daughters, so that they would get the inheritance. They weren't left out of their tribe's inheritance.
Yeah, and if the father has no brothers, you shall give it to an inheritance, and there's a relative in his clan. It's just how to change property over without getting it into hands of other people that aren't there. Okay, not to change hands, and there it is. That's what I was just talking about there. Basically, by you inheriting the way you do, the inheritance of children of Israel is not to change hands from tribe to tribe, right? It stays in your family. It stays close to it. And then if for some reason you have to sell a piece of it, then you would have a 7-year release and you would end up with that back as well. Okay, boundaries. Do not remove your neighbor's boundary. I don't know why that's just for the land.
I don't know. I feel like we should have that for nowadays. Because I can take my neighbor's wall and move it down 10 feet, and he wouldn't notice for a while.
Yeah, no, it would be ridiculous. I mean, these are the kind of things that we need to start doing right now. Even though they say it's in the land, go try changing your neighbor's boundaries and see what happens. What do they think? Try moving the fence over and see what they think about you and what they say. It's not going to be good, right? You're going to be doing evil to your neighbor. Okay, cities of refuge and the revenger of blood. Tell me about that, Eli.
Basically, if someone murders someone and it's accidental, they have this city of safety where you can run to, but there's also the Revenger of Blood, who is like a relative who is allowed to kill the person who killed their family member.
Yeah, so there is a way to get even, per se, and in the land. And this is for somebody that murdered some, and I guess even an accidental murder. They're safety cities, and so if you accidentally killed somebody with an axe or did some accident stuff, the family member's probably still going to be mad at you, and they're probably just still want to hunt you, and so you have a place that you can run to. Okay, tie to the third year, guys. What do we have with that?
We have that, and during the third year, so we have 1/10 of all of our earnings to the Levites.
Okay, continue on. I just lost my place.
Before battle, the Kohen was supposed to come to them and say, "Here at Israel, you are drawing near today to battle with your enemies." And then,
This is to be like a command.
yeah, it's this is all one command, all one verse. So, do not let your heart be faint, nor fear or tremble before them. Basically, he had a motivational speech for them, basically before they went to war, and that's what the Kohen was supposed to do for Israel.
Yeah, this book is laid out really funky. Really hard to find. Hopefully it helps some people out there. Don't be afraid of your enemies. When you're fighting your people, you appoint the commanders.
And this is all one law, five of these things on how to deal with war and how to deal with...
Yeah, besieging a city when you guys want to take care of it. Firstborn belong to Yahuwah. Now, that's very interesting. Kadesh means all the firstborn, the opening of the womb among the children of Israel. It is mine. A lot of things, we don't discuss this a lot, but the firstborn is Yah's in all this. Okay, ransom a firstborn. And this is how to ransom a firstborn, right? You would take it and you would basically swap the firstborn out for something else. Basically, you're paying the priest for this, is what you're doing. Okay, one found slain. Anyone take it?
So if someone found slain, they got to figure it out, and they don't know who killed the person. They take it and measure the closest city, and wherever the closest city is, that city pays and does sacrifice for that person that was found dead.
Yep. Okay, the Jubilee, the 50th year Jubilee. You count 7 Shabbats of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. And at the time of the 7th Shabbat of years shall be to you 49 years. Okay, and then the 50th year is a Jubilee, and it is basically you return each to his possession, each to his own clan. The 50th year is a Yobel to you. Do not sow nor reap what grows of its own. It's kind of a year of rest. Okay, buying and selling in the Jubilees. When you sell whatever to your neighbor or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another according to the number of years of the Yobel. So this is what it's called. It's basically when people come to you with their hands out or they do some kind of a deal, you're not to mess with them and exploit them and rip them off. And if somebody comes to you in year 6 and they need a loan or they want to do a land deal, just because it's close to that Jubilee, you can't turn your hand away from them. And this is the redemption of the land. This is talking about how they get this back.
So basically, in that year, their land returned to them. That goes back to that tribe or family.
Right. And the same for the redemption of houses.
Their houses back.
Houses go back unless it's in a walled city, right? And if it's in a walled city, they have 1 year after it's sold, and then they cannot get that house back. But anything else, they can always get back. All right, Levite's redemption, guys.
Basically, when a Levite buys something, it's his forever. It can't be returned. Levites are exempt from the Jubilee.
Yep. Poor brother Eli.
When you have a poor brother, don't refuse him when he needs something.
Yeah. Right of redemption, Cade.
When it's the Jubilee or when you have something and it's the yearly release, you have the right to redeem your thing and get your thing back.
Yeah, and it's talking about somebody that's been sold, right? And there's a right of redemption, and your brother. There's always a way that somebody can come and redeem you out of slavery, and that is the cool thing.
I feel like a poor brother, one that comes to you and asks for help. I feel like that shouldn't just be in the land either. I feel like that should just be in general. Do not turn your brother away.
Yeah, there are a lot of these. I don't know why it would just be in the land, because a lot of these are commandments that we should have forever. Okay, appointing a sovereign. Let's go through these real quickly. This is about sovereigns and rulers in the land, how they appoint them. I don't know so much as this is. I guess let's go through this real quick. Appointing a sovereign, gentlemen.
There's an appointed sovereign. Yahuwah would choose a person, and they would basically listen to that person. He would be over them for as long as he lived.
And Elohim, Yahuwah, needs to choose the sovereign that they have.
And it can't be a foreigner who has out of the tribes.
Right. Restrictions.
Basically, he was not supposed to get extra wives, extra horses, extra things, and extra gold for himself, or it would make him corrupt.
Yeah, Solomon corrupted himself. And then every sovereign is supposed to write a copy of the Torah.
Right. During their lifetime on the throne, they're supposed to write the Torah.
But halfway through that, they decided that they were just going to go make idols and stuff, and not many did that.
All right, livestock and farming. Let's go through this real quick. Mating livestock, plowing, threshing, sowing fields, trees and their fruit. All of these things, you're not supposed to harness livestock by itself. Plowing, you're not supposed to muzzle an ox and a donkey together. You're not supposed to plow them together, because there's a huge strength difference between an ox and a donkey. And the donkey, number one, your rows wouldn't be very straight. If your donkey would be lesser power, and so your ox is always going to be there. Also, do not muzzle an ox while it is threshing. Do not sow your field with mixed seed. That's a very important thing, and I guess we do that all the time now. Everybody in the world does that, and especially in Japan and different places, they'll take a pile of seed, just toss it out in the field, and what grows up, grows up. Trees and their fruit, we're not supposed to eat them for 3 years, because it will take the power of the tree away. Tithe of the land, Jade.
This is the increase of our land to Yahuwah, which we basically give it to the Levites so they can give it to Yahuwah, and we add 1/5 of it to it.
Yep, tithe of harvest, Eli.
Same thing. When you harvest, you put 1/10 to Levites.
Yep, the tithe and distance, Kate.
You would basically bring the thing that you were blessed with, the tithe of your fruits, to Yahuwah, and you would go figure out the distance to which priest it would go to, basically.
Yeah. Okay, reaping your harvest, Jade.
When you have your thing, don't reap the corners, or if you've forgotten a sheaf, leave it for the poor, the widow, and the fatherless, those who are hungry, leave it there so they have something to eat.
Yeah, no, this is a way that people don't starve in our Creator's land. If you're broke and stuff, you can go into a field and you can legally eat out of the field, but you cannot take it out of the field with you. Okay, Cade, anyone?
Livestock injures a man, and that sounds more like a news headline than an actual command.
It does. Yeah, and so when a ox kills something, you have to take care of it, right? And when an ox scores a man or woman to death, the ox shall certainly be stoned, and his flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, if the ox is previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned and has not kept it confined so that it killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and the owner also is put to death. Okay, death of livestock. When a man opens a pit, if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or donkey falls in, the owner of the pit is to repay. He has to give silver to their owner, and the dead is his. And speaking of that, I need to make sure we get our well in the back covered up so our animals don't fall in the pit, please.
Right.
Livestock kills livestock.
News headline.
Yeah, another one. Livestock kills livestock. Tell us about that, Eli.
Basically, when an ox of a man smites the ox's neighbor and it dies, then they shall sell a live ox and divide the silver from it, also divide the dead ox.
Yeah, so oxen gone mad. Okay, theft of livestock. You're supposed to restore it 5 times.
Right, so you steal 1 ox, you have to pay 5 ox.
Yeah, and so does this? I mean, what can we take this to anywhere else? Is this only livestock? What happens if you you steal money for people for 13 years? Are you supposed to return that money 5 times, or is this only for oxen?
I think you should. Anything that was stolen was supposed to be returned double.
Yeah,
Or more.
Yeah, so there should be something there. Okay, caretaking. When a man gives his neighbor a donkey or ox. Okay, so if something dies while you give it to your neighbor, it's not your neighbor's fault. You're basically on it. Your neighbor didn't do anything. But if the owner messed with it or stole it, then the owner has to deal with it.
Right.
All right, newborn animals. Basically, it should be 7 days with his mother. From the 8th day and thereafter is acceptable as an offering made by fire. But do not slaughter a cow or a sheep and its young on the same day. We also have other commands about not taking the young of the nest, along with the birds, things of that nature as well. Okay, wandering livestock. Anyone?
When a man lets a field or vineyard be consumed and lets loose his livestock and feeds another man's field, he repays the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard.
Yeah, you got to take care of it. You can't just let your animals go wild and not take care of it. Fire damage, when something burns out, when you start a fire and you burn your entire neighbor's stuff, you got to pay. It's the way it is. Okay, your enemy and his livestock. You're supposed to take care of your enemy's animals. Just because he's your enemy and you guys have a beef doesn't mean you need to put your beef with his beef, right? So if you know what I mean. Sorry, guys. Okay, your brother and his livestock. When you see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray, you shall not hide yourself from them. Okay? You're basically, this is the same thing, right? If the animals of your neighbor are going astray, this is not the animals of your neighbor's fault that you're mad at him. So you're supposed to take care of them for sure. Killing of livestock. He who smites a beast repays it body for body. That's simple enough. 7th year rest. What is that, gentlemen?
Basically all the animals, all the fields, everything should let rest. No growing, no plowing. You're supposed to have a rest.
Yeah, do not reap what goes of its own. Do not gather the grapes. Any of that. Okay, the Yobel. We're back to the Jubilee year. I don't know why they have this again, but...
Because we're not supposed to reap or sow in the 50th year. Because we should have enough from what we had before.
Right. Okay, the firstborn, Eli. That's not you. Go on. Tell me about this.
Everyone open the womb is Yahuwah's, and every male firstborn among your livestock, whether bull or sheep, whether firstborn of the donkey, ransom of the lamb, and if you do not ransom, then you shall break its neck.
Break its neck. Okay, an animal and its young, when a bull or sheep or a goat is born, it shall be 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day and thereafter is acceptable as an offering. I think we just read this.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, first fruits of the land. Bring the first fruits of your land to the house of Yahuwah, your Elohim. This is paying the priests and getting them fed and helping them do their jobs. And so, okay, servants. So we're at 44. We will end here. I think we'll end around 50-ish. What do we do, 28? No, I think we didn't go more. Okay, servants rest. So if you have a servant, if you have things, you're not supposed to make them work on Shabbat. You're not supposed to oppress your servant. You're not supposed to mess with them. All of this stuff. Female servants. When a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as the male servants do. If you're engaged to a female servant and she's displeasing in your eyes, this is one of these odd commands, but I understand, I guess, maybe Yah does. Who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he is engaged to her son, if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as his right of daughters. If he takes another, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. So essentially, it's taking care of women, taking care of basically women on this. Smiting the servant. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Basically, if somebody hits a servant, not with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be avenged. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not avenged, for he is his property.
Yeah, that's an odd command, huh?
Yeah.
Injuring a servant. If you break his tooth out, you gotta you get your tooth knocked out. If he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he goes free, right? Because you knock the guy's tooth out, he lets the servant go free. So that's something different that we haven't heard before. But if you knock the guy's teeth out, then he's free. Intercourse with an engaged servant. When a man has intercourse with a woman who is a female servant engaged to a man and who has not at all been ransomed or redeemed nor freedom given, there should be an inquiry. But they are not put to death because she was not free. Interesting command as well. One of these ones that you kind of raise your eyes a little bit at. Okay, a poor brother is a servant. Go on.
Basically, you can't make him a slave or a servant. You can make him work with you, but you cannot make him a slave.
You make him an employee, but not a slave.
Right. Okay. A Hebrew servant.
when you have a man or he return, they will basically go free on the 7th year, and you're supposed to give good things, and you're supposed to give them some of your flock. You're supposed to give them basically not leave them empty-handed when they leave. You're supposed to give them lots of things that you were blessed with because they are your brother, they are your own blood.
Yep. All right, male and female slaves. Male and female slaves, whom we have from the nations that are around you, when you buy male and female slaves, and also from the sons of the strangers sojourning among you. From them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property, and you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you to inherit them as possession. Interesting about the slavery world of the old days. A Hebrew servant's wife and family. Go on, gentlemen.
Basically, when a master basically lets his servants go, and he gave him a wife, he gets to go out with his sons or daughters, and if he bore him sons or not. But if he has no children, then he basically goes out by himself.
Yeah, the children. So let's read that. If a master has given him a wife and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children are her masters, and he goes out by himself.
Right. So basically, I think the master gets to choose. I think.
Right.
I think if you're an actual human being, you'd let the family go out, right? It became a family.
Let the family go out, or keep the family
don't
together.
Separate the family.
Yeah, don't separate the family.
That's just a morally wrong thing.
That's cruel. Yeah, that's cruel. You don't get the best workers by oppressing them. It's not gonna happen. A oppressed worker isn't gonna be a great worker. Okay, a servant who wishes to remain. If you have a servant that wishes to remain, you grab an awl, smash it through their ear under the door. Yeah, it's like an ear piercing, I think, is what it is.
You were so good as a servant. He loves to work with you forever, and basically he stayed with you forever, and you treat him as like family almost.
Yeah, it is family. Okay, an escaped servant, you do not hand over to his master the slave who's escaped from his master to you. Let him dwell with you in your midst in the place where he chooses, which he chooses within your gates, where it is pleasing to him. Do not oppress him. I'm sure that's not going to make everyone happy.
I'm sure that dude's gonna want to fight you. Like, give me my servant back.
Give me my slave back. Yeah, servant's wages. Give him his wages on the same day. You don't send off the poor. Do not afflict them. Do not mess with them. Right? They're already broke. Why are you messing with them? Okay. All right. So we are to 46, which are the sons of Aaron, and I think this is a good place that we can end this today. So let's just go ahead and end this. Anyone have anything else at all? Okay. All right, so thank you guys very much, our family. We love you guys very, very much. We hope that you guys are getting something out of this. We're just trying to go through this book a little bit. It's not exactly thorough because we have gone through these very much thorough in a lot of other sections and segments. And so it's just more stuff that we can relate, that we can put into our hearts, minds, and souls, that we can seek our Creator and learn His commands and learn His ways. And some of the ways seem a little odd sometimes. And some of them don't seem like stuff that you would do in today's society, and you may not do them in today's society. But back in the day, that's how the society was, and these were the rules, how to maintain rule in these kind of societies and rule where our Creator will dwell with us. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys very much.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.